Welcome, travelers, champions, heroes, and villains, to the adventure. Today I'd like to talk with you all about the most basic part of any game of Dungeons & Dragons, character creation. Woo. I know there have been millions of videos made out there about how to make a totally powerful or min-maxed build for any character designed for many fun adventures of giving you the best chance to power through skeletons, zombies, and even dragons. If that's your bag, there are far more talented people that have been playing for much longer than me to give you that level of advice. If, however, you want to play something more unusual, like a barbarian who is the face of the party, a fighter that is also the party investigator, or even a kobold that makes potions, then stick around. Now I know most people want to just make a powerful character when they start playing Dungeons & Dragons. It's understandable. We've been taught that we need to make the most bleeding edge character in just about every game we've ever played. You need to push out that extra 1% damage in order to beat down the boss in the newest MMO raid. You have to find gear that gives you 0.5 more DPS in order to advance in that mobile game and play when you should be working. Unless you have a totally brutal dungeon master, or a campaign that is constantly pushing your characters into unconsciousness, then you don't have to actually power out the biggest modifier to all your rolls. In fact, it can be a lot more fun to lean into the unexpected. Don't get me wrong though, I'm not suggesting you should eschew the main stats of your character and put your lowest number into strength for your charismatic barbarian. I mean, it's a way to go, you can even have some fun with it, I'm sure. Personally though, no matter what kind of character you want to make, I would suggest putting your highest stat into your class's main attribute. Let's just say your table uses standard array for character creation. I know. Nobody wants standard array. It's awful. Well, hold up. It's just an example there, cowboy. So in standard array setup, you get a stat choice of 15, 14, 13, 12, 10, and an 8. So let's say you're making the face of the group be your charismatic barbarian. I'd still start off with that 15 in your strength. However, maybe you place that 14 or even the 13 into your charisma stat. Maybe you lean into the idea a bit harder and choose Tiefling for your race to give you a nice juicy +2 modifier to your charisma. That would leave you with a 16 in charisma and giving your charisma modifier a +3. That's pretty great for a level 1 character, especially if you want to be the king of your social encounters. Now you'll have to fiddle with your starting background a bit in order to get proficiency in some more charismatic skills, such as maybe you were of the knight background to give you some proficiency in persuasion rolls, making it even easier for your barbarian to strike up a conversation with someone. But I hear you out there asking, if I choose the knight background, why would I be a barbarian class and not a fighter or possible ranger? Well, it's a good point. Why would you be? That's where you use your background choice to help you come out with a great background story for your character. Maybe you were a knight in a kingdom that was destroyed while you were away on a crusade, only for you to return home to find the town slaughtered, where your rage overcame you, so now you've tossed your armor aside in hopes of a glorious end in battle with the enemies of your former home. But you still retain the well-spoken eloquence of your former knighthood, knowing that it's easier to get the information you need by using your silver tongue, and instead keep your sword and rage ready for those that truly deserve it. I bring all this up because I used to play a lot of MMOs many years back, and I remember the holy trinity of classes where you needed to have a tank, a healer, and some damage to make dungeons work. Dungeons & Dragons, at least in 5th edition, doesn't necessarily need specific classes to make the party work. All classes have the ability, to a certain extent, at least, to fulfill any of the roles of a tank, healer, or damage. Yes, even a wizard, if taking the right subclass and spell set, can be on the front lines. Hello, Blade Singer, especially with Natasha's updates. However, I think that the game benefits more from a separate group of subclasses that any basic class can start to choose to dabble in. No, the books never make any mention of them, it's just something that from running games you notice would create an advantage if the group had someone with a high investigation or perception check, even a high charisma stat to make it easier to convince the king to provide aid, or even recruit people to your side. I'd call these 4 subclasses. Yeah, I'm gonna call them subclasses, even though there already are some. The face of the party. Usually the team leader and the one that does all the big important RP character talks, such as talking to the crime boss or the king. Then you have the investigator, the character that has a higher intelligence, insight, and investigation stats. The one that finds all the hidden doors in dungeons or puts the clues together about the hag swaying the populace of a nearby town. You have a scout, that is the character that follows behind the bandits and locates where the stronghold is, or pickpockets the orders off the big bad's henchmen while they're distracted getting a drink. This character usually prevents the party from walking into horrible situations, or at the very least lets them know what's coming up ahead so they can be prepared for it. Finally, you have the wedge. And the wedge is my term for more of a jack-of-all-trades character, because sometimes you need to have someone supporting the scout on a sketchy mission, or you need to investigate 2 locations at the same time. Sometimes the face just needs a bit of a hype man to give him a little bonus in a particularly hard social encounter. So you send the wedge in to help bolster your chances of success when just one specialized character isn't enough. This is more of my roundabout way of suggesting players out there that you can totally play any class you want. I've heard of all barbarian parties after all. I think you can make combat work with any composition out there. There are enough potions and magical items to help a group overcome a cleric or druid deficiency. But if you plan ahead during your session 0, you are doing session 0s out there, right? Your party will have the ability to easily overcome most social and puzzle encounters without having to bang their head on the wall for an unnecessary amount of time. Maybe you just want to play a bard that's just damn good at arm wrestling. I'm not here to judge. Have fun out there. You make a character that you want to play. It doesn't have to be the perfect min-maxed monster out there. You're going to be playing that character for hopefully many sessions of game time. You can make it be the face of the party while still going into a barbarian rage on all the goblins. But I hope all your dice come up natural 20s and you overcome all the big bads out there. Until I see you all again in the next adventure. Bye for now.